Installation procedure for the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator. Single enclosure. Note: recommendations for how purge or pressurization systems should be connected are as follows. Installation locations should be selected for best ease of viewing of system pressure gauges and/or visual alarms. 2. All tubing, piping, and fittings that are selected should be suitable for the location where they will be installed, used, and protected from damage. 3. No valves shall be installed between the purge pressurization system and enclosure. Always refer to appropriate ATEX, CEC, IECEX, NEC/NFPA, and UL standards for proper installation and required tests for certification of any complete purge pressurization system installed on enclosure. Multiple enclosures in series. Note: recommendations for how purge or pressurization systems should be connected in multiple enclosure installations include the single enclosure recommendations plus the following. 1. Enclosures in series should be connected from smallest to largest enclosure. 2. Connections between enclosures should be appropriately sized to allow proper operation of purge pressurization system and proper purge gas flow through enclosures. 3. Conduit and wireways can be used as protected enclosures or as connections between enclosures. The volumes of these conduit and wireways should be included in the overall volume to be diluted before power can be applied. The first enclosure in series should have purge gas supply to enclosures. The last enclosure in series should have purge gas exhaust from enclosures and pressure reference point for indication and/or alarm. Hazardous area installation. Flammable gases or vapors lighter than air. Note: recommendations for installation in hazardous areas with flammable gases or vapors that are lighter than air are as follows. 1. The purge gas inlet supply connection should enter the enclosure near the bottom corner of the enclosure. 2. The enclosure exhaust vent should be installed near an extreme opposite top corner of the enclosure. Flammable gases or vapors heavier than air. Note: recommendations for installation in hazardous areas with flammable gases or vapors that are heavier than air are as follows. 1. The purge gas inlet supply connection should enter the enclosure near the top corner of the enclosure. 2. The enclosure exhaust vent should be installed near an extreme opposite bottom corner of the enclosure. For overall unit dimensions, hole sizes, and locations required to mount and interface the unit to an enclosure, refer to Purge Solutions Cyclops Y or Z Purge Indicator Manual. 1. For the Cyclops Y or Z Purge Indicator mounting hole pattern, use drawing number DO-11008. 2. For the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator wiring diagram, use drawing number DO-11009. 3. For the Cyclops Y purge indicator intrinsically safe wiring diagram, use drawing number DO-11108. The following procedure should be performed when installing the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator. Review all of the material in the manual prior to installing and interfacing the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator to the enclosure it will be monitoring. This installation shows mounting the unit on the left side of the enclosure. Alternatively, the unit can be mounted on the right side or door of the enclosure. Step 1. Make sure the area surrounding the enclosure in which the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator will be installed is known to be non-hazardous. Step 2. After it has been assured that the area surrounding the enclosure is known to be non-hazardous, open the enclosure door. Step 3. Select a location to mount the unit. Choose a location on the enclosure that is farthest away from the Purge gas inlet kit to achieve best dilution results. The mounting location should permit adequate viewing of the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator's green LED and exhaust from the vent. Step 4. Use the mounting hole pattern, drawing number DO-11008, to accurately locate the mounting holes. Use this mounting hole pattern to produce a 1:1 scale template. Tape the 1:1 template to the outside of the enclosure. The required hole locations can then be transferred and/or marked using the centers of the holes as shown on the 1:1 template. Step 5. Drill or punch all holes per the sizes specified on the mounting hole pattern, drawing number DO-11008. Step 6. Install the provided O-ring into the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator groove. Step 7. After the O-ring has been installed into the O-ring groove, align the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator to the mounting holes. Step 8. Use the 5 sets of screws, split lock washers, and flat washers provided with the unit to mount the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator to the enclosure. Tighten fasteners until the O-ring is completely compressed against the surface of the enclosure. Step 9. Use 3-conductor wire with a gauge of up to 16 AWG to connect power and ground to the unit. Use wiring diagram drawing number DO-11009-F for proper wire terminal strip locations. Note: in order to meet hazardous area certification requirements, only 12-volt DC and 24-volt DC Cyclops Y purge indicators can be used for intrinsic safety. Power wires must be installed per drawing number DO-11108. This can be found in the manual. Step 10. For connecting alarm, use up to 20 AWG 2-conductor wire. Refer to wiring diagram drawing number DO-11009-F for proper terminal strip locations. Note: in order to meet hazardous area certification requirements, only 12-volt DC and 24-volt DC Cyclops Y purge indicators can be used for intrinsic safety. Alarm wires must be installed per drawing number DO-11108. This can be found in the manual. Step 11. After routing and terminating the wires into the terminal strips on the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator, secure these wires using proper lead dress. Step 12. If flow restriction is required for enclosures with volume smaller than 4 cubic feet, or 113 liters, a restrictor plug that is provided with the unit can be installed as shown in the exhaust port on the back of the unit. Step 13. After installing the restrictor plug if required, Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator installation is complete, and the unit is ready to monitor the purged pressurized enclosure. Warning: failure to heed the following information may lead to injury of personnel or equipment damage. Before installing the Cyclops Y or Z purge indicator, electrical power wiring must be checked for correct size and routing. Refer to all ATEX, CEC, IECEX, or NEC/NFPA certificates for any special conditions of use. If an X appears after the certificate number, it indicates that the equipment or protective system is subject to special conditions for safe use specified in the schedule of the certificate.